Does this sound familiar? You sit down in a practice room, pull up a backing track, and try to use that new jazz lick that you just memorized, but you either freeze completely or you force it out, and it sounds like you're reading random sentences from a textbook. I've been a professional jazz guitarist and educator for over a decade, and I see students make this critical mistake constantly. They think that learning jazz language is a waste of time, but it's not. The problem isn't the language. The problem is how you're acquiring it. Today, I'm going to show you how to actually internalize jazz vocabulary. I've curated a specific roadmap using clips from 3 of my most useful lessons, and by the end of this video, I'm going to reveal the exact practice room method I use to permanently lock these lines into your muscle memory. The first massive trap I see students fall into all the time is what I like to call the hero lick. You see a blazing fast 3-measure bebop line on YouTube, or you find one in a transcription book, and then you spend a week memorizing it. The problem is these lines are usually too long, rhythmically complex, and navigate way too many harmonic sounds at once. In the practice room, that completely makes them impossible to use. To actually build a vocabulary, you need to strip things back and focus on one specific harmonic sound at a time. That makes it way easier to piece ideas together into great solos. Here's exactly the kind of manageable line you should be looking for. It's a short, powerful lick from the trumpeter Lewis Smith over his solo on Bacon, one of the essential solos I have all my students transcribe. So now what's the first thing you notice about this line? It's short, right? I cannot stress this enough. Do not try to internalize long, complex lines right away. Longer solos and lines are built by piecing together small, manageable fragments. Brevity is everything, but just as important is keeping things rhythmically simple. You want a sturdy scaffolding, which means lifting lines that start clearly on a downbeat. Downbeat lines are absolutely the easiest shapes to snap together like puzzle pieces. Once that downbeat line is internalized, then you can add the upbeat rhythms by attaching the glue to the front of the phrase like 2 or 3 known closures. Watch how seamlessly this chromatic glue stitches these ideas together. You can take your favorite pieces of jazz language, those classic licks you already know, and stitch them together using the exact same chromatic glue. It could sound something like this. Notice how that simple glue instantly made those blocky ideas flow together. But rhythm is only half the battle. Once you have a simple, manageable line, you hit the second trap, playing the notes without knowing why they work. A lick is useless if you do not understand its harmonic function, or the harmonic functions inside the tune you're playing. To truly assimilate a piece of jazz language, you have to strip it down to its studs. This is exactly why I teach the strict 4-question framework. You need to ask yourself 4 simple questions in order to use it. Answering these questions will unlock the true potential of any piece of language you want to learn. Number 1 is, what is the starting note in relation to the chord that it's played over? Number 2 is, what is the first beat the note is played on? Number 3, how long does the phrase last? And number 4 is, what type of sound is it played over? So let's apply these questions to our Lewis Smith idea. By answering those 4 questions, you turn a random fretboard shape into an easy, repeatable formula. This is crucial because jazz is built on recurring sounds, right? Like 2-5-1s and backdoor dominants. You have to understand the function of your language so you know which sounds to play it over. Knowing a great 5-1 lick only helps if you know what a 5-1 lick looks like inside the tune you're playing. Here is how that application works in practice. Jazz musicians have language that outlines this chord progression, which could sound like this, or like this. Now, in No One Else But Me, we have multiple key changes, and that's signaled by a 5-1 progression. Notice in measures 6 through 9, we have 2 different 5-1s, one in B and one in E. Now, when you see this motion, just use your 5-1 licks like I showed you previously, but now in the relative keys that they're going to. Seeing that in action proves exactly why you need to know your harmonic targets. Okay, so you mapped out a simple functional line and you know what chords it belongs over. In a second, I'll show you the plug and chug method to lock it into your muscle memory permanently. But real quick, I put together a step-by-step cheat sheet for today's lesson that outlines this entire process, plus the notation that we're covering. I just posted it on my Patreon, and I'll link to download it right in the video description. Alright, let's get to the real framework. This is where everything comes together. I call it the plug and chug method. So what we're going to do is take one idea of language and put it through an entire progression everywhere it fits. So for example, here's what that looks like when we plug and chug a dominant lick into a standard G blues.
The first is called the plug and chug method. It's simple. You play your lick everywhere you can in whatever tune you're playing. So let's use a G blues for our practice tune today. And as you know, in a blues, every chord is a dominant chord. So we're going to try and play our lick over every single one of those. When you do this, only play the lick and do not embellish it. Also try to keep it on the same string set at first. Remember what we learned from our questions. This will help us use the line. So the lick starts on the third of whatever dominant chord we're playing, and it also starts on beat 1. This is how you know how to use it. So let's use the plug and chug on a G blues. Once you can do that.
So at first, practicing like that is going to feel like a stiff exercise. But to the listener, they don't hear a formula. They just hear confident professional phrasing. The magic comes when you can piece a lot of these together effortlessly. When you accumulate simple ideas, assimilate them with our 4 questions, and plug and chug them through the changes, you stop stitching random licks together. You build a flexible vocabulary that lets you play jazz standards with total freedom. The tune Nobody Else But Me is famous for being incredibly difficult, but when you break it down, just like with any tune, it's just a web of these exact same chord formulas and downbeat connections we just covered. When you master the simple fragments, you can effortlessly play changes like this. So if you want a structured roadmap to play like that, you need to check out my Jazz Essentials Learning Path on Patreon. It is a complete step-by-step curriculum designed to take you from not knowing much language to linking ideas together and building your own pro-level solos. And that's over on my Patreon. And by joining that, you get instant access to not only that learning path, you also get access to tons of other things, including the PDF cheat sheet and interactive guitar pros for today's video lesson. And I also want to give a massive shout out to those Patreons that make this channel possible. I truly appreciate your support. Thank you. So let me know in the comments what piece of language you are going to put through the plug and chug method this week. Thanks for watching, and remember to always keep swinging.